Welcome back to the Bucky Worlds. We're talking today with Robbie Huck, a friend of mine from Alaska Raceway Park. Robbie races a front-engine alcohol dragster out there now known as the Arsonist. Hey, Robbie.
Hi.
Thanks for coming on the YouTube channel.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for spending some time with us.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, kind of can't help but notice the 500-pound gorilla in the garage.
Oh.
What do we got here?
Oh, this old thing? Yeah, it's just this is the new endeavor in the front engine dragster that I own. We're going to put a blown alcohol Hemi in it. We had a big block Chevy platform in there before with an automatic transmission.
Gotcha.
Power glide. That ran its course, and of course we want to go bigger, better, faster, louder,
Sure.
cooler. So I bought a few of these. I bought two from the same team out of Texas through John Dunn.
Huh?
And then a third one came out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's just a bare block, but I'll have two complete motors, hopefully,
Nice.
and a lot of spare parts. But
Yeah.
apparently these things use up a lot of parts.
Well, hopefully not too many. And if I recall, you're going over to Lenco?
Yeah. So like I said before, we had a Power Glide transmission. There was really no Power Glide left in that Power Glide. It was all aftermarket stuff.
Right, sure.
The only thing that made it a Power Glide is it was a two-speed automatic.
Right, yeah. Similar architecture.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have a Bruno, which makes your Lenco into an automatic transmission.
It's essentially the equivalent of a torque converter, not really.
It's a torque converter drives is what it is.
Gotcha.
Yeah, paired up to a Lenco. So I'll still have a two-speed, and but it'll handle a lot more horsepower than that old Power Glide ever would.
And honestly, I'm a two-wheel guy. I drag race a bike out at the track.
Yep.
The Bruno and the Lenco, what are the big classes that run those that some of our people might be familiar
Well,
with?
you'll see them a lot in NHRA Pro Mod nowadays.
I thought that sounded like
and
a
there's
Pro
other
Mod.
guys in top alcohol dragster and funny car that are going to the Lenco drives. A couple different reasons. The technology on them is really coming around. They can handle a shit ton of horsepower now, as opposed to before where they really couldn't, and now they're able to. And you got two less guys on your crew now. You don't have a tranny.
Tuning wise.
Yeah, well, tranny and a clutch guy.
Oh.
You know, you don't have to dink around with a clutch in between rounds like you would before, which is a nasty job. I'm a really small, limited crew, so
now, do they tune those with like laptop or?
Oh no, it's all
pneumatic or computer controlled of some kind.
No, not at all. Okay. It's all mechanical.
Okay.
Stuff. Yeah, they'll add or take weights from the pressure plates and whatnot to make them hit harder, or let them slip a little bit or whatever.
Gotcha. Okay.
Honestly, all that technology is new to me, so I don't really honestly know.
And if you would speak a little bit about where do you come from drag racing wise? How did you get your start?
Oh gosh,
what kind of hot rods did you used to run? And
well,
and then also if you would tell us a little bit about the Arsonist, where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. So my drag racing career started about 1998. I had a 67 El Camino. It was a fun little street car, and I had been in some trouble on the roads before, so I figured, okay, we might as well take this to the drag strip. Yep. So the low budget altereds and dragsters running little motors in them. I'm like, shit, I could do that. If I took the motor out of El Camino, put it in one of those, I'll be as fast as those guys. So
drop weight.
I started looking for an altered and found that front engine dragster, not knowing that they were going to be the fad that they are now, as popular as they are now.
Yeah.
They've really made a resurgence and the comeback.
Well,
I bought it.
You were at the bleeding edge of that whole thing.
Well, I don't know. It was all luck because it was all I could afford. Really, is the reason I bought it.
Yeah. Not a lot of body work.
No, and they're super light.
Yeah.
That first dragster I had, front engine dragster, only weighed 1,250 pounds.
Wow.
So you put a 500-600 horse motor in there and put a bunch of nitrous on it, you're gonna go.
Yeah.
Sure. And then that car kind of ran its course. We ran outside of the certificate, the speed allowed and ET allowed on it after about 10 years, and I decided, okay, well, let's get rid of that and start over. So I, on about a 6-7 year tour of buying just a whole pile of tubes that were on the ground, looked at that one day and said, shit, I'm gonna build me a dragster out of that. And now here we are with this Gene LeMay built car. He assembled it for us.
Chromoly, right?
It's all chromoly. Yeah. It's a 212-inch wheelbase, all chromoly. Gene was an artist. The workmanship that's in that car.
I know his name is well revered. I don't know the man, but I know his legacy just by meeting the people at the track.
Yeah, he's to me, he was 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
He was one of my heroes. His dad was a real big name back in the 60s. His dad ran a...
Locally here also?
Yeah, they're Anchorage people.
Gotcha.
His dad ran a front engine dragster back in the mid 60s, and legend has it that he had the very first over 200-mile-an-hour car in Alaska, which I presently own as well.
Oh,
it's
very nice.
Stashed away for a later day project.
Let us know when the museum opens up officially.
Yeah, exactly. So at any rate, I had Gene build that car. He built that car and a replica of my other front engine dragster at the same time. And unfortunately, Gene passed away right before those two cars were done, so he never got to see him go. I know he's looking down proud.
Gotcha. Though. Well, yeah, that's a little something extra for every one of your runs, knowing that you're hopefully making him proud. Right?
Somebody's keeping me off the guardrail. Pretty sure it's him.
It looks like you've had some help from time to time. Watching some of your videos, you've had a couple of close calls. Dust in the. Well, now it's a wall. It used to be just Armco. Up until recently.
Yeah. So,
and as a motorcycle racer, I appreciate that change as well. I don't want to get tangled up in the fence posts if I can avoid it.
Yeah, not cool.
Yeah. And what do you? Where are your ETs and trap speeds at with the Arsonist as of last season?
We've been as fast as 7.0. We've been 7.0 3 times now. Cannot get that 699. We had some issues going on with the car from the get-go that I was never really ever able to fully address before changing the whole program and going to the Hemi thing. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get our handle on it because we were always having a problem with launching the car. It would strike the tires and go up in smoke, and I'd have to pedal it, or it'd go into tire shake, or it'd get hard on the wheelie bar and jump off the ground, and the tires would go up in smoke. And it's a bucking bronco.
If I can, for context, not being competitive or anything, but my bike, I've gone 861, 174, and trying to put 398 horsepower through a very small contact patch. I'm similarly riding the razor's edge like you are there, where you leave a little soft and your run is just in the garbage, and you leave a little hot and you're up in smoke.
Yeah.
Hard to find that happy medium. And that's frankly part of the challenge. I think for me, I can't speak for you, but when I get a good run, I know I've overcome my own problems, but also the physics at play there. And
sure.
It's exciting and especially rewarding, I think.
When you finally lay a good rundown.
And you scare yourself just a little bit.
If you're not scared getting on a bike or getting in a car like that,
man.
You better check yourself.
Ditto, man. I mean, I think we each have a decent reason to pucker a little bit sometimes. But I think for the most part, we're out there having fun too. And that's the overwhelming thing, is kind of chasing that adrenaline rush and trying to make sure you don't have to push it back dejectedly onto the trailer at the end of the day. Keep it all together. I was wondering if maybe you could just kind of show us around your shop a little bit.
Sure.
Here.
All right. Well,
so this is where the magic happens. Robbie's assembly area, I guess.
Yeah, we build a lot of engines in here.
So, friends, word of mouth, what kind of, you're not doing a full commercial engine build operation.
No, I don't, I don't really tell anybody. I don't have to tell too many people. Sounds like I'm tooting my own horn.
No, but you know a lot of people from the track.
I know a lot of people from the track, and I've been building motors for people for, dare I say, close to 30 years now.
Wow.
So I got a lot of word of mouth customers, a lot of repeat customers, guys that buy a hot rod and play it out and then want to have another hot rod, and then I build another motor for them.
Fortunately for you, the people who buy assembled motors generally go through assembled motors to a certain extent.
Yeah.
At least more so than the general population out there.
Right. And we'll build them anywhere from, and I think my business card says 300 to 3,000 horsepower.
So you've got a really nice assembly area here.
It's pretty cluttered, but I know where everything is, and I'm the only guy that works in here, so it works,
unless you've got a barn, you're going to have some clutter in a place. You've got a pretty big shop here, but you've got a lot going on, a lot of tools, and doing professional engine builds too requires that you dedicate a certain amount of space to it, I suppose.
Yeah. I call this a clean room because I can go out there and grind and weld and paint and do whatever I want, and don't have to worry about getting a bunch of grime and grit or whatever on an open block.
Yep. Close the door, keep it out there.
Yep.
I see you've got a lot of historical pictures from Alaska Raceway Park and beyond, apparently.
Yeah. So that's one of my favorite pictures of my old dragster. That's probably, I don't know, I think that's maybe mid-track. and it's getting pretty sideways in the
I
picture.
can see you got a little bit of lock dialed into the steering.
Yeah,
there,
that
don't
was we were having I will call it a successful nitrous run.
You didn't hold the motor.
No. I actually had really good luck with nitrous for the 10 years that I ran it. I never blew up a motor, not once. We always caught it. You know, if there was something wrong, we caught it at the end of the day or caught it while it was happening. And
nitrous sets some very specific rules, and if you don't obey those rules, you pay the price.
Yes, you must
I have
obey
paid
the
price
rules.
because I did not obey the rules, honestly. And I got the pistons to prove it.
Oh, yeah.
So you had mentioned Jean LeMay earlier. Do you have some of his?
I did. That's actually that was his car. Beautiful,
Anglia?
beautiful. Yeah, 48 Anglia, blown alcohol, small block. Very amazingly built car.
That's your friend John Dixon's car there.
There's John Dixon. Yeah, we had a lot of success with that car.
Topolino?
Yep, Topolino. Had a lot of success with that car over the years. Maybe pan up, and hopefully he's watching this. This is one of my favorite pictures of me whipping his ass.
Oh. One of many, I'm sure you'd say, were he here?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we have a pretty friendly rivalry, and it's funny because there's people at the track that really think we don't like each other because we do joke around so much, you know. So,
as friends will.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. He's one of my closest friends. There's nobody I trust more in the other lane than him, or like say maybe John Lackey or Brian Asmus, or there's a small handful of folks.
Speaking of Brian, is that his orange altered?
It is. That's when he ran an injected small block. I love this combination of pictures. They're both pretty out of shape here. That's the actual first picture at the launch. They're both leaving wheels up. Yeah. And John's doing his usual heading for the Christmas tree, and he's still wheels up. So, nice. a lot of good.
Altereds are known. That short wheelbase stuff is known for putting on a good show and
it did that.
Keeping their drivers honest, I guess. Huh?
It did that.
Robbie, I'd like to get uncomfortably personal, perhaps, for a little bit and ask you about one of your bodily organs.
Well, sure.
No matter which one, you're okay. Specifically, I know you've got a kidney transplant history.
Yeah,
and
I sure do.
I think it'd be interesting to hear a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, it's sort of an interesting story. So I work with a guy that he's been working there maybe about 5 years now, I guess. Coming to work, you know, we hit it off pretty quick just because we're about the same age, from the same side of Anchorage, had a lot of the same friends. It's weird how we never crossed paths.
Okay.
At any rate, got to noticing one day that he didn't look healthy, you know, as he was coming to work every morning. And so I kind of pulled him aside because I didn't want to embarrass him in front of people, and asked him one day, just flat out asked him, I said, "Are you all right?" Yeah. And he says, "No, I'm not all right." And he tells me a story about how he was on the kidney donor list, and, and he was on dialysis 3 days a week and still going to work and whatnot. And, you know, it just kind of struck me a little bit. I don't know why.
It touched a personal.
Yeah, I'm not exactly even sure why.
Yeah.
So,
well, maybe you saw a little bit of yourself in him. You had so many similarities, perhaps.
That could very well be
there, but for the grace of God, go I, kind of a thing.
Yeah, maybe so. So I, you know, a couple weeks goes by, 2-3 weeks goes by, and I just can't get it out of my head. I just can't shake it. And so one night I just kind of sat up out of bed and realized I know what I got to do here.
Wow.
So I went to work the next day and cornered him again and says, "Hey man, if we're a match, let's do it." After several tests,
I was going to say, in the back of your mind, saying that it's a crapshoot and not one with its odds in your favor necessarily.
Sure, yeah, because it's pretty
rare
that people are a match, because you got to be a couple different things to be a match. You got to be a blood match, and one of your 8 parts of your DNA has to match, and that can be rare.
Specific.
So 1 out of like a million. Sometimes people are 2 out of the 8.
Okay.
Me and this guy were 5.
Wow.
Out of the 8.
So
like siblings close.
A great match, not only a match.
Yeah. So it, you know, in this September 21st of 2021, we both laid down on tables.
A couple years ago.
Got our parts swapped out.
Wow.
And he's doing great now. It's amazing. I see him every day. You know, we work together kind of. He's one of the operators and I'm one of the mechanics there.
Right
on. Got color back in him, hair coming back, got a little pot belly on him. He's eating good and doesn't have to do dialysis anymore. The only thing he has to do is he has to take any rejection pill every 12 hours the rest of his life.
Right, I've heard about that.
Wow. So pretty neato.
That's awesome.
Thanks.
Well, sometimes it's rare that we get a positive story or influence from someone close to us, and I really appreciate you sharing that with us because
Oh yeah, no sweat.
I mean,
Share your spare, I say.
I know you well enough to know you don't like these sorts of compliments, but it's an inspirational story in it.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's something that I really appreciate. Um, I also wanted to talk a little bit about the support you get as a drag racer.
Oh yeah.
Friends, family, sponsors.
I couldn't do it all on my own. I know that.
Right.
There's a ton of support I get from friends and family both.
Well, you've got quite an operation here.
Yeah, it's not a one-man band
Right,
anymore.
right.
You know, and it used to be where I was drag racing, and it was easy because we were low budget.
Stuff didn't need full teardowns multiple times per season,
Yeah,
probably.
yeah, exactly. And things were a lot cheaper then too,
Yeah,
but the
yeah,
car was a
yeah.
lot slower, so that
Sure.
kind of follows
Yeah,
linearly.
These are the physics of the sport.
Yeah, so you know, when we were starting to approach the 200-mile-an-hour time zones, it got to be tricky and more expensive, and needing more help and more support.
Yeah.
So that's where sponsors, friends, family came in.
I see Unleashed Horsepower over there on
Unleashed
the
Horsepower has
injector
been
stack.
an amazing sponsor, one of
Right.
the best sponsors ever.
They're the Eagle River Machine Shop. Old,
They sure are.
What's it, the Johnson Tire
The old
building?
Johnson Tire building,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
Another one being Tailored Restoration. A friend of mine, Trent Taylor, lifelong friend, known him since
I've heard you talk
before
about him.
kindergarten. Yeah, I've known that guy forever. He's been a great sponsor.
Right on. Right on.
Yeah, friends, as far as friends go and family goes, my brother has done all the electrical on every race car I've ever had since day one. And
now, is his nickname Sparky by any chance? I know a few
No.
electricians who.
Well, his name is Matt.
Okay.
He's been known to be called Hazmat.
Okay, that's pretty solid nickname.
Yeah.
Right on.
At any rate, I got guys in my corner like Brian Asmus, who's been amazing.
Mhm.
Known him since high school. We've been building cars together forever.
Right.
John Dixon.
Oh yeah.
Jimmy Lackey.
Yep.
And the list goes on. I mean,
Yeah.
I couldn't list them all. There's so many people I get so much help from. I'm very blessed to have all these people in my corner.
I drag race my bike out of the Alaska Raceway Park, and generally our parking area in the pits is over by where the blown alcohol guys are, and I sort of kept running into Robbie there, and so yeah, the names he's talking about are all the high horsepower guys that I've known at the track since I've been going.
Yep.
Including yourself. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I guess I am one of those guys. Huh?
Yeah. You're in the club.
It's sort of weird hearing that.
You're in the 200-mile-an-hour club.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
I'm digging that. I got a long way to go before I'm there. For sure.
Next big number is 250. That's all I can say about that.
Yeah. Well, hope to see it this year.
We'll see when we see it.
Right on. Well, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Robbie.
Yeah, no sweat, man.
Yeah, Robbie Huck, Alaska Raceway Park, blown alcohol, the Arsonist, right?
The Arsonist, yes.
Right on. Thanks.
All right, thank you.